Imagine a vast army, thousands of soldiers marching under a relentless sun, their shields glinting, spears bristling. But their greatest enemy isn't another army, it's thirst, hunger, and exhaustion. In the ancient world, survival was the real battle. Most soldiers died not in combat, but from disease, starvation, and fatigue. An army was a moving city, demanding constant food and water. A single Roman legion needed over 30 tons of grain each month. Multiply that by tens of thousands, and the challenge becomes staggering. Supply lines stretched for miles, vulnerable to attack and disaster. A failed harvest or lost convoy could destroy an army before a single sword was drawn. Morale depended on full stomachs, not just courage. Generals who could feed their armies kept them marching, disciplined and ready to fight. The real power wasn't in weapons, but in granaries and secure supply lines. Logistics was the invisible war, fought long before the battlefield. The wilderness was always waiting to claim the unprepared. The promise of the next meal, the location of the next well, these were a soldier's constant thoughts. The Warpath was a trail of logistics, not just glory. The greatest victories were won by those who mastered supply, not just strategy. The true art of war began with survival. In the end, armies marched on their stomachs. The wilderness was always the final adversary. The Romans mastered logistics like no one else. Their empire was built as much with shovels as with swords. Roman roads were military highways, moving legions and supplies swiftly across continents. Each soldier carried his own tools and rations, making the legion a self-sufficient force. Every night they built fortified camps, securing their supplies and safety. Their network of roads and granaries meant Roman armies rarely outran their supplies. They conquered not just people, but the landscape itself, bridging rivers, draining marshes, building as they advanced. This system let them wage war year-round while others waited for spring. The Roman war machine was a marvel of organization, proving that logistics could be as decisive as any weapon. Their true strength was in preparation and discipline. The Mongols solved logistics with speed and adaptation. They didn't build roads, they lived on horseback, each warrior with several mounts. Their herds traveled with them, providing food and milk on the move. They could cover 100 miles a day, striking where least expected. The Mongols lived off the land, hunting and taking what they needed, making them nearly impossible to cut off. No vulnerable supply lines stopped the horde or stopped nothing. When invading new lands, they consumed local resources, using terror to force surrender. Their mobility and resilience let them campaign across continents. The Mongol way of war was logistics in motion, minimalist, ruthless, and effective. Armies were a burden for civilians, even when disciplined. Their demand for food and resources could devastate entire regions. Foraging often meant organized theft. Villages stripped bare, harvests lost in hours. Armies acted like plagues, leaving famine and chaos in their wake. War's true victims were often the nameless civilians caught in the path. Campaigns followed the seasons, spring and summer for movement, winter for survival. An army caught without supplies in winter was doomed. The rhythm of war was dictated by the cycle of the earth and the logistics of survival. War is fought on two fronts, the battlefield and the supply line. The greatest generals mastered logistics, not just tactics. The Romans built empires with roads and granaries, the Mongols with mobility and adaptation. From ancient times to modern wars, logistics has always been the true king. Technology changes, but the principle remains. An army that can't supply itself will fail. Victory belongs to the best prepared, not just the bravest. The true art of war is winning the invisible battle of survival.